Jane Knights. I am the Austen reviewer. So today, for my little random musings that we're going to go on about, I thought I'd do something that I'm going to need to do before we get too much further into the reviews. As you will have seen, a couple of weeks ago I released a review of the 1940 version of Pride and Prejudice. There are more Pride and Prejudice adaptations than there are of basically any of the other ones, maybe even combined. So I've done one of those. I'm planning to do one of a different one coming up, but I thought there were a couple of things that I'm going to need to address before then, so I'll do one of them in no particular order here today. And that is the fact that I personally do not really care for Emma. More specifically, I do not care for the character of the main character of Emma in that novel. I respect Jane Austen greatly for the literary skill that she executes in that particular novel as even just a writing study. It's a fascinating thing, the way she uses words to toy with the perceptions of the character and the free indirect style that she's going with. It was actually one of the first pioneering works of that type and helped to popularize it, and it's used in varying degrees in very nearly every modern book for the most part, honestly. A lot of the fiction stuff, they use it in some capacity or another, and I'll probably do an explanation of that in another video, but we're going to focus on Emma. So the reason I have a great deal of respect for the book has to do with the writing execution and ability of Jane Austen and most of the other characters in the novel, but I do not care for Emma herself. And the very simple reason for that is a very personal reason. I don't like how she goes about assuming that she already knows what's best for everyone and that she can somehow tell everything better than everybody else, that she's going to be right in the end and she's convinced of this, and nothing anyone says, and believe us, Mr. Knightley tries, will convince her otherwise until she actually has to come face to face with her own errors. Those characteristics in characters and in people, though accurate, they are genuinely accurate, people actually do behave like that, drive me crazy. They also drive me crazy in actual people. And I'm not going to try to argue that there might not be some fact of I have fallen into that myself in the past, and it's probably the character trait that even in myself I find more offensive than anything. So that's probably why I dislike it so much, and she's so genuine in it, and it just drives me crazy because you're watching her go along and you're borderline screaming at her. It's like, no, don't do that, or don't trust that person, or don't assume that, and she just goes along blissfully unaware, and it's a great exercise in frustration, I find, watching adaptations of it or reading the book. Yeah, it's not one that I'll willingly pick up myself, and of probably all of Jane Austen's novels, as a question of reading for enjoyment, it's the last one I will pick up. I'll pick up any of the other ones basically before I'll pick up that one for enjoyment of the reading, but I do still respect it as a writing style and the subtlety of the words and the language that is used. So you really can read through it once, and if you don't know the twists and turns and stuff and then you find them out, if you read through it again, those all make sense. It's not truly a mystery novel, but it almost has some kind of elements of it. But it's still enjoyable in further readings through. But yeah, some of the subtleties of the characters, but I just cannot stand Emma the character. So I promise I will do my best not to let my own prejudices affect me when I'm watching the movies, and I promise I will still be very hard on the movies if they make her out to be obscenely bratty, because I know that I'm looking through my own bias when I'm reading the book, so I'm not expecting the character to be that despised as I find her to be just in myself when she's in a movie, though maybe I will be a little more sensitive to that, so I promise I will try to at least correct for that. But if I seem a little reluctant, when I'm doing the reviews of that one, that's probably why. But thankfully, there are many, many adaptations of all of them combined, and I'll always have the many Pride and Prejudice and several other things to fall back on. Thank you for joining me. I remain as ever. Until the next time we meet, the Austen Reviewer. Thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, share it with your friends if you'd think they'd be interested. If you'd like to, I'd really appreciate it if you would consider supporting me on Patreon. That just allows me to focus more effort and time and resources into actually making these videos. Thanks for watching.